Welcome to Release Your Potential Now with Jane, your weekly dose of energy, wisdom, and healing, where we explore how energy shapes your life and how you can shift it to thrive in every area physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Each week, we'll dive into practical tools, real-world examples, and quantum energy perspectives to help you stay positive, navigate challenges, and reclaim your personal power. Whether you're dealing with stress, seeking balance, or curious about the energetic world around you, this is your space for insight, growth, and transformation.
What if something in your life already is moving in the right direction, even if you can't fully see it yet? And what if the reason you feel discouraged isn't because nothing is happening, but because the deeper changes are still taking root beneath the surface? And what if your job right now isn't to push harder or worry more, but to trust the process, protect what matters, and remember how far you've already come? That's what we're talking about today. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Release Your Potential Now with Jane. I'm Jane Phillips. As we wrap up our April series, I want to bring two ideas together that really do belong. Don't dig up the seeds. Trust the process, and protect your garden. Set boundaries for the life you're creating. This month, we've been talking about spring as a season for getting clear about what matters, planting the right seeds, and taking small steps to support the 1 to 3 goals you want to focus on the most this year. Once you begin something meaningful, 2 things need to happen. You have to trust that it's going to work, and you have to protect it. Because not everything takes off quickly. Not everything gives visible results right away. And not everything around you will support what you're trying to build. Sometimes progress is quiet at first, and sometimes the shift is happening inside you before it shows up on the outside. And sometimes what you're creating needs more patience, more care, and clearer boundaries. So today I want to talk with you about how to stay steady when progress feels slow, how to stop undermining your own efforts by doubting them too soon, and how to protect what matters so it has a real chance to take hold. So this is about don't dig up the seeds. One of the easiest things to do when you care about something is to keep checking in a way that actually disturbs it. You take a few small steps, and then you wonder if it's enough. You begin making changes, and you question whether anything is really happening. You might think, why am I not further along? Shouldn't this be easier by now? Maybe this isn't working, or maybe I'm not doing enough. But real change doesn't happen all at once. In nature, when you plant a seed, there's often a period where nothing much appears to be growing. But that doesn't mean nothing is happening. The roots may be forming, the seed may be settling in. Something real may already be underway, even if you can't see it yet. That's true in life too. You may be building trust with yourself or learning to create new habits. Becoming clearer about what matters, you may be more grounded than you used to be. That matters. And here's an important practice. Sometimes we feel discouraged because we're measuring the gap, looking at how far we still have to go, staring at the mountain in the distance, focusing on what isn't finished yet. But if you only look at the gap, what's ahead of you, you miss the gain. The gain is the progress you've already made. It's where you started compared to where you are now. It's small improvements in your habits, your focus, your peace, and your consistency, your follow-through. So when you're feeling discouraged, ask yourself, where was I when I started? What am I doing now that I wasn't doing before? What is better than it used to be? Don't undermine your progress by doubting it too much. Don't walk away from something meaningful just because it hasn't bloomed yet. And it can be hard to trust this process. It's easy to lose trust when you want reassurance. You want to know, is this working? Am I doing enough? Maybe I need to do more. Will this pay off? How long is this going to take? And again, we've been talking all through April about planning to get significant progress by fall. It may not be totally completed, but significant progress will get you there. And discouragement gets worse when you focus only on the gap, how far you have to go, forgetting to measure the gain. You may compare yourself to someone else and feel behind. You may decide your small steps aren't making a difference, but the small steps are the steps that are manageable that move you forward. You may let one hard week convince you that you're failing. But a slow season is not always a bad season. A quiet season is not always an empty season, and often the foundation is being built before the results become visible. There's a lot going on in our world right now, and some of it is astrological. So a slow week might have to do with astrology. I've had that for the last couple of weeks. And it isn't necessarily something I'm doing wrong or not enough of. It's just that this is a time to take a breather. So all that you're doing, it takes time and it takes consistency. If you've just planted a new garden, small steps are making sure you water at frequent intervals so it has the nourishment and the water to grow. So small, consistent steps like this watering, whatever you're going to do to water your goal, will take you further than one big burst of effort followed by exhaustion because you did too much at once. It's further than unrealistic pressure and further than trying to do everything at once. So I'd like to come back to two simple reminders that I have talked about before. I have these on Post-it notes in my office. And as a reminder, the first one is it says first things first. And the second one is finish what you start. And so earlier in March, we talked about figuring out what's most important and letting go of things that maybe aren't yours to hold. And then taking a look at what's the most important. And if you have some goals, they're going to be at the top. So first things first means returning to what matters most before everything else swallows you up. And finish what you start means doing your best to complete what's already in motion instead of adding more to an already crowded list. There will always be other demands on your attention beside your big goals for the year. That's just life. And when you handle the most important things first and close what you've already begun, you feel steadier, less scattered, and less overwhelmed. And sometimes for me, that means I've got messy dishes and it's getting in my way and distracting. It's more important that I get the dishes done so that when I'm walking from my office and see it in my house, that it doesn't distract me. Trust doesn't mean doing nothing. Trust means continuing to care for what matters, even when you can't yet see the full result. And first things first means taking care of what's most important and finishing things that maybe are dangling that you need to deal with. So this is a little commercial for what I do, but if you're feeling stuck around something or have a goal that you're really not sure how to move forward with, you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed or weighed down by the energy that might not even be yours. I offer intuitive support to help clear emotional, energetic, and spiritual interference in your home, your body, and your life. And so I do private sessions and workshops and offer some helpful resources. So if you want to learn more about what I do, you can go to Jane C. Phillips, PHILLIPS.com. And that will take you to my two websites, one that works with the intuitive medical piece and the body code practitioner that I am, and the other works with clearing energies off of you or your home that are getting in the way of your health and physical. So what does it look like to protect what you're working toward? If you've chosen 1 to 3 important goals for this year, what would it look like to protect them? For example, if you have a garden and you have deer in your property, you might want to put a fence around it so that your garden has the chance to grow and all the flowers don't get eaten. Deer love to eat the tops of flowers, I've observed. So what would it look like with your 1 to 3 important goals to protect them? So here's some examples of things to think about. So if you want to improve your health, protecting that goal might mean getting to bed earlier, for example. It's a small step. Or making room for rest or movement, or saying no to what drains you, really paying attention, or just becoming more aware of how certain foods affect how you feel. If feeling better and more healthy is your goal, your habits need to support it. And small, consistent steps will matter more than big, dramatic efforts. You don't have to do everything at once, but if a simple goal is getting to bed earlier every night so you can get 8 hours or more of sleep, that would be a consistent step. If you want to create more financial stability, protecting that goal may mean being more thoughtful about your spending, or setting aside time each week to review your finances. I'm one of those techie people, so I have an Excel spreadsheet so that I can write down what all my, if I have credit card payments to make or bills due at a certain time, they go on my spreadsheet so I can look at it. And that may not be you, but it's an idea that I've used successfully for years to kind of stay on top of things. And another idea is, besides reviewing weekly, is stopping the habit of avoiding your bills that come in and putting them in a pile because you don't want to look at them and deal with the stress of it. So stop avoiding your bills, and your paperwork might be the thing that you do as your small step every week. And part of protecting a financial goal is protecting your attention and following through on the basics. So if your home is an issue, if you want a more inviting home for you, protecting that goal may mean not letting clutter pile up, or handling one area in your home before it becomes overwhelming, completing small tasks as they come up, being aware of the energy in your space. If there's too much clutter, it does affect your mental health. So maybe that's noticing that you're going to clear the clutter just on your desk, or maybe it's something that you're going to clear every single night, if it's whatever it is. So if you want to strengthen your relationships, protecting that goal may mean making real time for the people who matter, being more present when you're with them, reaching out consistently instead of waiting too long, or noticing which relationships truly nourish you and put more attention there. Connection needs care and follow through. And lastly, as a last idea, if you want to deepen your inner peace, protecting that goal may mean creating quiet time, stepping back from too many obligations, or returning to practices that help you feel centered. If inner peace is something you want to build this year, it needs space, attention, and repetition. So now ask yourself, what am I working toward this year? And what boundaries to keep the deer out, right? What boundaries would help you protect it? What will help me protect it? I want to leave you with a few things to sit with after this podcast. It's short today, but there's a lot of content, so listen to it again, make some notes. What have you started this year that is still in an early stage? Where are you tempted to doubt yourself because you don't yet see enough proof? Take a minute and think about that. What needs more patience right now? What matters enough that it deserves protection? And where do you need a clearer boundary around your time, your energy, your attention, and your emotional space? And where can you pause and measure the gain instead of staring at the mountains in the gap? What progress have you already made? What is more solid, more clear, or more consistent than it used to be? You don't have to force results. You don't have to check every 5 minutes to see if something is working. And you don't have to give something and everyone full access to the life you're trying to build. Progress doesn't always look like visible change. Sometimes it looks like quiet consistency. Sometimes it looks like small steps you keep taking. And sometimes it looks like having the courage to say no to what pulls you away from what matters. All of that counts. And something that I do consistently because it helps me is our cell phones and our electronics allow us what I call bunny trail. It's really easy to get caught up and then not get the most important things done. So I'm offering, if you have the ability to put yourself on Do Not Disturb, if you have the ability to change the text when it says I'm driving, so it doesn't say I'm driving, mine says I'm in a meeting or otherwise unavailable, I'll get back to you by the end of the day. So somebody who's texting you will at least know something's going on, that you can't get back to them right away. They're not going to feel ghosted, but they know what's going on. So take a look at your electronic things. What can you do to protect your time? It's really important. And use the Do Not Disturb. Use the reduce obstructions and things that are popping in so that you can stay focused, even if it's only for a couple of hours or an hour. So as we close today, I want to remind you, if you started something meaningful this spring, be gentle with it. Be patient. Stay connected. Keep watering. You know, it might need fertilizer of some sort, but keep tending it and protecting it. And do your first things first. Do your best to finish what you start. And it could be something small, like my dishes or putting away laundry or something like that, that if you finish, it puts clarity into your space so you can do the more important things again. And it's not about doing all those little things. It's the ones that first things first and finish what you start that are getting in the way of your mental health around the big goals you have. And you might consider, if you have your own business as I do, to set aside a couple of hours each week as the CEO of your business to figure out what's most important for the week coming and to reset yourself if during the week you've gotten off track. Just get back on again, doing something small to get started. Maybe you've committed to do too much toward your goal every day or every week, and it's getting in the way. So maybe smaller steps are going to help you, and you'll still move forward. Small, consistent steps will take you further than pressure and overwhelm ever will. And there's no need to keep proving it's working, checking for the seeds, seeing if anything's growing, and no need to panic because the results aren't fully visible yet. And don't let everything and everyone else pull you away from what matters most. It's one of our biggest distractions is our friends and family who need support from you in some way. And then it pulls you away from some of the things that are really important. So have an idea of what you're going to do to keep yourself protected and being able to accomplish the goals you set for this year. And you could have just one really significant goal. You don't need 3. I offered 1 to 3 when we started in April. But if you have one big goal, then consistently protecting baby steps that you're taking for it is going to be really important. So keep an eye on where you started and where you are now. You've made progress. You will make more progress. Measure that gain, not the gap, not how far to the mountains that you have to go. Keep an eye on how far you've come and trust the process. Protect your garden, protect your goals. What you're creating deserves care and your attention. And there's a learning process for you while you do this, because most of us set really big goals and try and take big giant steps and end up in exhaustion and then can't do anything further. So pay attention to that. And thanks for being with me today. And thank you so much for joining me on Release Your Potential Now with Jane. I'm Jane Phillips. And thank you for being with me through this entire April series on planting, patience, and protecting what matters. As we move into May, carry this with you. Choose what matters, what's most important that moves you toward a healthier life in some way. Start with the intention. Figure out small, steady steps. It might be a walk for 15 minutes every single day, or 30 minutes if you're more adventuresome. But 15 minutes usually is pretty manageable. And trust what's happening, what's taking root. You are getting healthier. And protect what you're creating. Don't let someone tell you that it's not a good goal. And maybe one of the protection things is you don't necessarily let people know what you're doing on some of these goals that you have, because you don't need them to tell you you're doing it wrong or it's a silly goal, which will totally undermine you. So one of the protections is figuring out who to share with or not. So until next time in May, take good care of yourself. I look forward to talking to you then.
You've been listening to Release Your Potential Now with Jane, your weekly dose of energy, wisdom, and healing. Tune in on Transformation Talk Radio to unlock the power of energy healing and transform your life one insight at a time. Share this episode with a friend who's feeling stuck and might benefit from a little extra support on their journey. Together, we can create a ripple effect of healing and positivity, empowering individuals to live healthier, more joyful lives. Are you ready to gain control of your life and health? Then visit janecphillips.com to book a session, join a workshop, or explore how energy wisdom can help you heal and thrive.